Rivalry renewed on Saturday at Red Bull Arena. DC United making the short trip up I-95. Dave Johnson, the longtime voice of the black and red. Dave, tough times right now for your side in the midst of a losing streak. Seems like a roster shortage as well. This is probably not what everyone drew up in the beginning part of the season.
No, look, recent, tonight or for the game, pardon me, on Saturday, no Christian Benteke, no Matai Akamboni. The back line, which Matai Akamboni, for viewers that might not be familiar with, is a young defender, a 17-year-old defender who is showing a lot of promise. And so now he is out to a back line that is already missing Connor Antley, Christopher McVeigh, Stephen Birnbaum. I could start going down a list. Suddenly, where DC United is right now, it's a team that has been able to get 19 points, get itself into the mix at the halfway point, but is dancing a bit on the fault line right now because, yeah, they're short players in key situations. And, I don't think at the start of the season we expected Stephen Birnbaum to, I know we didn't expect him to re-injure his knee and be out. The Russell Canals injury, long term, didn't expect that at the start of the season. So this is a difficult period of time. There's no way to mask that. The positive is, though, this is Major League Soccer, and every time you have a game, you have a chance, and that's the way this league works. I've been doing it since day one, and that's always the way it's been.
Dave, who is the guy in this last stretch of games that Troy Lesesne can look to and count on, because there's been such roster turnover with the injuries, with some red cards, with some issues? Who's the guy that at least he can say, at least I know I've got player X that I can pencil into the lineup every time?
Well, Lucas Bartlett on defense has been now turned out to be a healthy anchor, and of course he's more than that. He's a very talented veteran defenseman, and when you look at DC United's recent form, throw out the game against Houston. Again, as we know, sometimes a final score cannot be the correct indication of how a game went. That's not to say DC United, when they lost to Houston 4-1, that's not to say it was a good performance. It was not a good performance by DC United. But having said that, they were up 1-0 in that game. But if you go back to the previous two games, they only conceded a wonder strike to Thiago Almada, and one set piece to Charlotte. Unfortunately, they didn't score in either one of those games. So right now, this is a team that has players like Lucas Bartlett. Because of injuries, Jackson Hopkins out of that midfield. We don't know if he's going to be back Saturday. Matty Peltola has stepped in, and a 21-year-old has been very valuable. So the positive is that Troy Lesesne, as he's come in the first year head coach, trying to change the culture. When I say change the culture, create a culture. That's not to say there wasn't a culture before, but he wants his imprint and his way of doing things on this team. And that includes a workout. And that includes a style of play. So what we've noticed is that no matter who gets put in what situation, it appears to us, and when I say us, Bruce Murray also does the broadcast, that there's a clear vision that the players understand how to execute that vision. And so that's a positive when you're dealing with injuries. The negative, you need to score goals. And right now it's been difficult.
2-1 over Seattle, 2-2 versus Philly, 3-2 over Atlanta. That run of games, end of April, beginning of May, there was optimism with this team. Only saying this because it turned out to be the next game. Since the Red Bull game in the middle of May, what has changed? Has it been bad luck? Has it been injuries? Has it been bad play? Or is it D, all of the above?
Well, probably all of the above. I mean, it's not like you can say, aha, there's one thing that has put DC United in a bit of a cul-de-sac of trouble right now. I think tremendous optimism when you start with, on your first 4 road games, getting a point right out of the gate. Tremendous optimism when you lose at Miami, but 1-0, and it was such a hard-fought game, and Stephen Birnbaum had returned, and so you're thinking, all right, he's been such an anchor of this team, he is back, and that coincides with that period of time. You referenced the Atlanta game on the road, probably one of the best games they played, this year. So, um, what's happened since, including lost the Red Bulls, is all of the above. It's not. I understand injuries are a part of the game, but as you know, in any sport, when you have to start shuffling the lineup around, typically you don't find consistency.
Dave, Saturday against New York obviously provides the opportunity for Troy Lesesne at the place that he used to be the head coach to turn things around. I would imagine, and Steve and I talk about this all the time when injuries come up, in a situation like this, where quite honestly, I'm not sure anyone could pick the starting 11 for DC United because of the injuries and the suspensions. That does lend itself to opportunity for maybe some guys that don't get normal run. And I'm sure, knowing Troy, that's something that he's going to hone in on during the course of this week in training, going into the game. Like, hey, Dave Johnson, here's your opportunity. You get a crack today in the starting lineup or in the 20-man roster. Make the most of it and let me know that you're going to be a guy that I can count on.
And I'm not trying to put black and red colored glasses on here, but how many times have we seen in sports when you look at a team on paper and you say, all right, well, that should be a loss because they just don't have enough firepower. And what that doesn't respect in any sport, if you're talking about a professional sport, the level of commitment it took for those athletes to get to that position. So to your point, they're going to look whoever it is in the starting 11 as, okay, this is my opportunity. This is my opportunity. And suddenly they become a tough team to play against. And Ben Olsen made that comment. The DC United has been a tough team to play against. You don't get points for being a tough team to play against. You get points for ties or wins. But that's exactly how, as I've had a conversation with Troy this week, every week is an opportunity. It's not cliche. When we're talking also a young team, do you think Jacob Merle, do you think Ted Pietro, two of our youngest players, are thinking about a losing streak? No, they're thinking about, this is another 90 minutes to show I belong in Major League Soccer. So this Red Bull game on Saturday is the biggest game of my career. And that's not cliche. Why is it the biggest game of my career? Because I'm still a young, unproven talent. So, I got a chance. I got maybe 90 minutes that I don't normally get. I'm going to show. I'm going to show. And that's the attitude that these players have to have. And quite frankly, as Troy Lesesne better, that's his opportunity or his attitude when he came into the Red Bull situation last year when he was a head coach. The Red Bulls were not flying high and ended up in the playoffs. So that is the narrative of Major League Soccer, or you can be heartened by history of Major League Soccer, knowing you can be, in a dark place in June and suddenly find sunshine in September. This is not the Premier League where you're done by Christmas.
Dave, you're the best. I appreciate you hopping on. My guess is that you do have a pair of black and red glasses somewhere in your closet hanging, and you're waiting to put those back on. Appreciate the time as always, my friend. Look forward to a good one on Saturday.
Yeah, you got me on that. I probably do have black and red glasses.